clinched last night their AL West Championship. 100 wins for a second straight season for the Astros. Carlos Correa returns to the lineup. He's the DH this afternoon. He has always hit well against the Blue Jays. He carries an average near 350 against the Jays. And right behind him, Yuli Gurriel. He's got an 11-game hit streak, and he's getting hot at the right time. This might be the most dangerous club in the postseason the way they're playing right now. Everybody's starting to come together for Houston, and they'll face Sean Reed fully for the first time.
He's going to be the first pitcher in charge of trying to get Gibby that win in his last game here at Rogers Center. It's going to be a bullpen day for the Blue Jays, and it's going to start with Sean Reed Foley, his 7th and final Major League start today. They are talking about possibly 2 innings from Reed Foley as he hits his innings limit this afternoon. They thought maybe his season was going to be over in his last start against Tampa Bay when he threw 4 innings and gave up 2 earned runs. But he said, you know what, I feel good. We need some innings. He'll get the start today. He's had 37 strikeouts through his first 6 big league games. That ties a franchise record.
See, the defense is McKinney, Pilar, and Grichuk, and we've highlighted the second baseman because this is a very special day for John Birdie.
Yeah, just added to the 40-man roster today when Brandon Drury went on the 60-day DL. They've had some injury problems in the middle of the diamond for the Blue Jays. John Birdie was on that Eastern League Championship in Double-A, so he will come in. This is his Major League debut here this afternoon.
789 minor league games. First big league game today. Conrad Foley delivers the first pitch strike in there to Jake Marisnick. Marisnick has come off the bench as a defensive replacement in each of the first 2 games. He has a double and a triple in 2 at-bats. Quickly ahead, 0-2.
Tough sledding right now with the shadows hanging over the home plate right now for the hitters to pick up that fastball. There it is right there. They're going to have to deal with that for a couple of hours. With the bright sunshine, they opened up the roof maybe an hour ago.
0-2 pitch is fouled off. 20 degrees at the start of play. It's a gorgeous day. Pat, I honestly can't remember the last time we played the final home game at Rogers Center with the roof open. It's a long time if it's happened. I can't remember when, but it's a beautiful day here. You can see fans shading their eyes in that bright sun. It'll be probably another 30-40 minutes when the shadows will completely cover this field.
Gives you a feel of playoff baseball, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
You got the Astros in town. They are going to the playoffs. They clinched it last night. Late last night after their win and Oakland losing to Seattle. They got to win the American League West Division.
The Astros are scheduled to host the Cleveland Indians game 1 of the ALDS on Friday, October 5th. So they know who they're going to play. Breaking ball in the air. Brando Grichuk, Kevin Pilar converging. It's Pilar, the center fielder. He makes the catch. 1 away. Well, Kevin Pilar, he was kind of interesting in the time the press conference was taking place. He was down there to listen in on his manager, and you know, he's the longest tenured Blue Jay here now, and he's been around for a long time, and we know that he and his manager have had their moments, but John Gibbons loves the way Kevin Pilar has played for him throughout his big league career.
Only manager he's played for, you know, and I thought that was very respectful for him to go down there and be a part of that final press conference here at Rogers Center earlier today.
It's out of respect. Respect as a man, respect as a manager. Tony Kemp laid on that fastball, 1-1 on the second baseman. Kemp has played left field in this series. He's been in left field to start both of these first 2 games. Now he's at second base to give Altuve an afternoon off. There's a liner to left field. Then McKinney's in the left this afternoon, makes the catch.
Yeah, a lot of the regulars getting the afternoon off again after that win last night and a celebration winning the American League West Division Championship. So a lot of the regulars will get the afternoon off before they head to Baltimore after today's game.
Marvin Gonzalez was the second baseman. Osuna has picked up a save in each of his first 2 games here. He will not pitch this afternoon, more than likely. So here's Carlos Correa, their fine shortstop. He's missed the last 5 games with back soreness. His back didn't look sore on that first swing. He's played 34 games since coming off the DL. He went on that deal on June 26 with the back problem. That's why his numbers are down.
And there is some concern about him. They got to make sure they get him healthy and get him ready where he can take the pounding day after day in the playoffs. And a back's a tricky thing. You just never know. One day it could feel great, and it can go out the next day.
Yeah, one awkward swing, one awkward play in the field, and you might be right back on the DL. They certainly need him. Well, what a great player. 24 years old. He was a former first overall pick.
Tell you, I was watching him today. He came out to hit today, and the trainers got him down on the ground, and they were twisting him like a pretzel, trying to loosen up that back and get that thing in playing shape today.
Those numbers suggest that he's just trying to get his feet back on the ground. He goes after that hard slider. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sean Reed Foley has had some very good moments since he's come to the big leagues. A couple of 10 strikeout games. Career wasn't quite set. Reed Foley, 23 years old. He turned 23 August 30th, and he, to me, is a really interesting guy.
Yeah, if he learns to command that fastball to both sides of the plate and throw that slider when he is behind, he can be an elite pitcher.
Right there's that wipeout slider. So the first inning, 3 up, 3 down. The side retired in order with the strikeout. He's here at Rogers Center for John Gibbons. He will have 3 more games down in St. Petersburg against the Tampa Bay Rays, but he's had a fine career with a couple of postseason appearances. He's 56 years old, but he says he's not done managing just yet. This season, the Blue Jays are 71 and 87. Randall Grichuk has been very good since the All-Star break. He has the 3rd most extra base hits in the American League since the All-Star break with 33. And Ledmus Diaz, boy, he too, the former Cardinal, Ike Grichuk, has had a very good run here late in September. A .410 average over his last 8 games. 3 doubles, a home run, and he's driven in 3.
His at-bats have been really good, and they're going to have to be good against today's pitcher, Chris Davinsky. 27-year-old, set to make his first start of the season, 6th of his major league career, 47 appearances, all of them out of the bullpen. Like the Blue Jays, this is a bullpen day for the Houston Astros.
Davinsky has not made a start since August 11, 2016 at Minnesota. So he hasn't opened up a game for the Astros for a while. Billy McKinney fouls it straight back. McKinney hit a home run in the 3rd inning. That was off Josh James, a good fastball, and McKinney just dropped the head on it and hit it out of the ballpark.
Yeah, he's got some tools, and the Blue Jays are going to be playing him the last 3 games, giving him a chance to show what he can do, maybe open up some eyes for next season. I definitely think he's in their plans at some point. We've seen him take ground balls at first base. I think he can play all 3 outfield positions if he wants to, and he's a young player. He's got to play. So wherever he ends up, he's got to play.
McKinney is leading off for the 23rd time this season. 2 balls and a strike. Davinsky's got a great changeup, and he's got kind of a fadeaway delivery where he steps toward the first base foul line and opens up, and he really has that very good changeup that's always been his out pitch.
Yeah, he was an all-star last year as a relief pitcher, a setup man. That's how effective he was last season when he made the all-star team. He's basically a 3-pitch pitcher. Fastball, curveball, changeup. And you're right, his changeup is one of the best. It's a lot different than Marco Estrada's. His changeup goes straight down.
He loses Billy McKinney with a leadoff walk. Take a look at the pitches that Davinsky will feature this afternoon.
Yeah, fastball, slider, more like a curveball for him at 82 miles an hour. And then the changeup, it looks like a splitter. It has so much movement, it goes straight down. He last worked a week ago, just an inning against Seattle. So there's some rust as he walks that first batter.
Kevin Pillar batting in the second spot. He goes after the first pitch and hits it right back to Pat.
I had it. I had that one. I was ready to catch it.
That was the closest I've seen to a ball coming into the booth.
I had it.
You had it, I know. You called for it. Pushed me out of the way. I thought you were going to catch it. That was close.
Scotty, you okay down there? All right.
Pillar hits this one in the air to right. Now Straw makes the catch to right field. Let's take a look at that foul ball headed right back to my partner.
And now notice no panic at all. Just okay, get a little bit closer. I'm going to catch it. But it just hit right above us.
Yeah, that was very close. I don't remember one being closer than coming into the booth than that.
In all the years that I've done games here, what has it been, 25 years? I've caught one up here.
Really?
One.
So 1 away for Justin Smoke. Smoke batting .244, 25 homers and 77 driven in. There's that changeup. You can see it's almost like a screwball the way it moves. It bends away from left-handed hitters, but it's equally effective because of that delivery. It's an unusual delivery.
There is some deception in that delivery, the way he throws towards home plate. He hides the ball well, but then really falls off towards the first base side of the mound. And all that's left is his arm. As a hitter, that's all you see is his arm coming through. Check out this delivery from Chris Davinsky.
There's a strike to Smoke. It's a ball and a strike. Here's the look.
You're looking for where that ball, where is it coming out of? And it looks like it's coming out of center field, doesn't it? Because his body's out of the way.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You see a lot of people throw across their body. Davinsky is the opposite. He missed with that fastball at 93. It's 2 balls and a strike. Davinsky making just his 5th appearance against the Blue Jays. He pitched against them an inning down in Houston back in June. He had one of his best outings ever in relief against the Blue Jays. In 2016, he went 4 1/3, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 7.
Remember that? I remember that game. Blue Jays had no clue what was happening. That thing was floating in there, that changeup, and he'll spin a breaking ball in there at times. And then right when you're starting to look for that changeup, he'll throw that 92-mile-an-hour fastball right by you.
2-2 to Smoke. There's that changeup for the strikeout. First strikeout of the afternoon for Davinsky. Let's take a look at the defense. A lot of different names in the defensive lineup for the Astros today. Bereznik's in center, Tucker and Straw in the outfield, and Yuli Gurriel, he's moved all over in this series.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight Gurriel because he's played third, he's played first, and now he's going to play shortstop. And he's played first, second, third, and shortstop for the Astros this season. He's played 1 game at shortstop before today. This is his first start at shortstop this season. Just like Marwin Gonzalez yesterday, a very versatile player defensively.
Well, I think A.J. Hinch is trying to protect all these different players. No question about the concern with Correa, whether or not he can play shortstop every day in the postseason. So you want to be as versatile as you can be and use the versatility of your lineup.
And he can do that. We have seen him at third. We have seen him at first. There's Marwin Gonzalez, who's played everywhere but pitcher and catcher this year. Hey, you never know what's going to happen in October. You never know what's going to. You might have to cover 2 or 3 innings, so you may as well get some work there.
Well, here's what happens too. Say they start the series with Correa at shortstop. He takes an awkward swing. His back goes out. You can't replace him till the end of that series. So you have to have enough options to cover your backside in case one of those guys gets hurt. So now they can play Bregman at short. They can play Gurriel at short. There goes McKinney. The throw is right into the base runner. And McKinney will have his first big league stolen base. You and I have been talking about Billy McKinney. He runs well enough that he should have some stolen bases. This is his first big league stolen base on his first big league attempt.
Yeah, it's his first big league attempt. He's got his head down and he takes a quick peek to see what's happening around home plate, and he recognizes that that ball is going to be coming down to second base. And when the throw hits him, he's got his first big league stolen base.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Way upstairs. I wasn't a fast runner by any means. You ran well. Would that bother you to run and look back at home plate? Did that slow you down? You felt like you could take a peek?
All you had to do is just take a quick glance to see what's happening around the plate.
Grichuk hits it high and deep to left field, and this ball's going to go. Randall Grichuk has set a new career high with a 2-run home run on Chris Nowitzki. Win one for the Gibby.
They have put him in that cleanup spot because he's been swinging a hot bat in the second half of this season. And he checked, looked like an off-speed pitch of some sort from Nowitzki, and he stayed on that one and knocked it out of here. That gives him now 25 home runs and a Blue Jays lead.
Ties him with Justin Smoke for the team lead. As we mentioned, that's a new career high for Randall Grichuk. And I believe he got a high changeup.
He swung through a low changeup last time. That's a high changeup, and he crushes it.
Rowdy Tellez. A big swing and a miss, 1-1.
Get the sunflower seeds out. Well, when you do this, he almost swung that bat with one hand. You see it? Stayed back long enough, but it looked like he hit it with one hand when he was fooled on that changeup.
Another high fastball to Tellez, 1-2 now. Called strike 3. Pitched him upstairs and gets the strikeout. A couple of strikeouts for Davinsky, but he gives up a 2-run home run to Randall Grichuk. Billy McKinney walked to start the inning, and then Randall Grichuk, using just one hand, sets a new career high with 25 home runs.
conference, General Manager Ross Atkins recalled a story that he said really illustrates John Gibbons' balance and perspective when dealing with his players. The two men met with Lourdes Gurriel Jr. yesterday, and Gurriel Jr. suddenly interrupted the meeting to say how much he appreciated the opportunity to play here, but then turned to Gibbons and reminded him of the time he was struggling. Gibbons walked over to him in the dugout and said, quote, "Remember to smile and enjoy this, kid." Gurriel said that has stayed with him all season. Atkins had a similar story, saying in his first year as a GM, new organization, new personnel, Gibbons sat next to him on the team plane ride to Montreal and said, "These are big jobs, big expectations, but don't forget to enjoy the ride." Buck Atkins saying the experience and when to say these things are powerful.
Yeah, and Ross Atkins talked about the timing of Gibbons' messages. He said that's what struck him most and how important the timing was. He felt like Gurriel was really in a tough spot, and Gurriel related to the fact. He said, you know, my father used to tell me that, don't forget to enjoy the game and have fun at it. But it was a great reminder coming from his manager. Sean Reed Foley strikes out Lourdes' older brother, Yuli Gurriel. Second strikeout of the game for Reed Foley.
Yeah, I believe that also about Gibby. You know, you got to enjoy the ride. He's never lost perspective of anything. When he's been sitting in that seat right there, or when he was a bullpen coach or a first base coach, there's a lot of responsibility in that first seat, and he's never lost perspective of the big picture.
One out for Tyler White. You know, having been in that chair for a while, people have no idea the magnitude of things that a manager has to deal with. And baseball is just one part of it, but you're dealing with people. You're dealing with players, you're dealing with the front office, you're dealing with coaches, and you're dealing with trainers and personnel. There's so many personalities that you have to interact with every day that baseball becomes the easiest part of all of it. And John Gibbons handles all of those situations so well.
The freedom is when the game starts. On average, let's say in a week, how many major things were coming across your desk? You know, give the people a sense of what a manager has to deal with, and it doesn't have anything to do with baseball.
Yeah, well, just think about it. If you have, say you have 4 kids in your family, and you're going to have a couple of those kids have issues once a week. You know, there's a couple of them. Well, now he's got 25 kids in his family and 40 in September.
Yeah.
And that's not talking about the coaches or anybody else.
There's all of that, and then the front office, and then the media. But, you know, hey, I'm not feeling good today. What are we going to do? So-and-so's not ready. He can't pitch out of the bullpen.
Oh, yeah.
He woke up in the middle of the night. You're starting shortstop, and he was sick. So what are you going to do? Things like that come across your desk all the time.
Yeah, the fun part of it is the baseball. That's the real fun part. And when the game starts, that's like you said, that's when you really get into it. That's when you really enjoy it. Another good slider from Reed Foley. 3 strikeouts in a row. He struck out Carlos Correa on a slider to end the first, gets Gurriel on a heater, and now he gets Tyler White.
First time that Sean Reed Foley is facing the Houston Astros, and he's pumping that fastball in there. That's what I mean about if he can command that fastball both sides of the plate. He's got plenty of fastball. And that slider, when he is behind in the count, he can be an elite strikeout type of pitcher. And you know what else he has? And you and I have noticed that having talks with him. His mentality, how tough he is, and what a bulldog he is as a person.
Yeah, he's got swagger, and swagger's a good thing. This is Kyle Tucker. Just 24 games this season. He's late on that fastball. But you're right about pitching, and when Reed Foley gains command of both sides of the plate, his fastball plays up. It'll show 93, 94, but it's much harder than that from a hitter's perspective. It's got finish to it.
I've got one more thing. The command and control, I think, is very important in those pitches. I think coming up with a reliable third pitch is very important for him too. He will throw a couple of other types of curveball changeup, but just hasn't mastered it yet.
I tell you one thing, he's in good company if he wants to learn to change up. Brian Barucki and Thomas Pannone both have great changeups. So these are the types of conversation you have during the offseason and into spring training.
There are the 4 pitches that he throws. That's pretty standard for any starter. 85% of the time it's either fastball or slider, so he needs to come up with a reliable 3rd pitch.
How about striking out the side? Second inning, 4 strikeouts in a row for Sean Reed Foley. Pitching like he wants to pitch more.
Presented by Honda at the Model Clearout event. It's the best time to team up with a Honda you'll love.
What a beautiful afternoon to wrap up the home portion of the schedule, and it's all about John Gibbons. John Gibbons, today it was announced he will not return as the manager for 2019, and it's been a love fest early on. Let Miss Diaz grounds out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. He's got an update for us. Wow. Chase Peterson, his ERA has ballooned to 36.
1 inning, 6 hits.
How about that?
4 earnings.
Boy, the Red Sox, boy, they too, like the Astros, really starting to put it together at the right time. Andrew Benintendi had 3 hits. J.D. Martinez with 3 hits. Xander Bogaerts drove in 4. Rafael Devers went 4 for 5 and drove in 6.
Bogaerts has 100 RBIs now.
What a player.
As a shortstop.
What a player. He has really come around. Remember last year, everybody was ready to write him off?
Yep.
He played with a wrist injury all year. Reese McGuire grounds out to the pitcher. 2 quick outs here as Diaz grounded out to third. McGuire grounds out to the pitcher.
That Martinez guy hit another home run.
127 RBIs for J.D. Martinez. 3 RBIs. Bogaerts right at 100 RBIs. David Price, the starter in that game, went 5 innings. He improved his record to 16-7. Red Sox scored 5 in the first, so you knew Price was coming out early. Richard Urania, he's batting in the 8th spot. He's had a nice finish to his season, swinging the bat very well. Average up to 294.
In that game, Buck, that we were just talking about, Mookie Betts became a 30-30 guy. Picked up his 30th stolen base. And he's hitting 344.
Yeah. He eliminated any opportunity whatsoever for J.D. Martinez to win Triple Crown, his teammate. Of course, Chris Davis has leading the home run department out in Oakland. There's a little flare to left field. Kyle Tucker makes a catch. Quick inning for Chris Stavinsky. 3 up, 3 now.
Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Blue Jays home screen icons and features such as the MLB TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Don't forget to download MLB At That today. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. It is a beautiful afternoon here at Rogers Center, and Sean Reed-Full is having quite a time. He's retired all 6 batters he's faced, including the last 4 on strikes. Well, he's pouring that fastball in there today.
Why not? Why not? You only have so many innings, so many pitches. Just fill up that strike zone. Blue Jays told us a couple of days ago that it's probably 2 innings, but he's made it look easy the first 2 innings.
Well, you know what? And there's always something you can take out of each and every outing. And I think Reed Foley, if he would focus on the feel that he's had throwing those first 2 pitches. You pitch like that, you're going to win a lot of games.
That's how he
one
threw
that gets away from him.
In Miami. In Miami, he came out and just filled it up with that fastball. He really zeroed in on that down and away fastball to right-handed hitters.
Slider in the air to right. Good chicken. Backing up now. Makes the catch. J.D. Davis is retired. Let's go back and have a look at those 4 strikeouts.
He's been in the windup all game long. And here he comes. Correa with the slider to end the first inning. Now he's going to strike out the side. Gurriel, White, and then Tucker to finish off the second inning. It's a interesting windup that he learned by watching David Price when Price was with Tampa Bay. Said it really keeps him together, keeps him over the rubber a long time. And I feel very compact.
Delivers another first pitch strike. This is Max Stassi, the catcher. Stassi with 8 home runs this season. Cianel Perez loosening up for Houston. Both teams using openers, if you will. Fastball upstairs. 1-2 now to Stassi. Brian McCann had knee surgery on the 3rd of July, so they went out and traded for Martin Maldonado. Stassi was in their system, but they've got a little extra depth behind the plate now, and McCann's come back fine. He looks like he's okay and set for the postseason. That slider gets away from Reed Foley. It's 2-2 now.
So that begs the question, who has caught the most games for the Houston Astros this year? Max Stassi. How about that? We've got Evan Gaddis on this roster. There's another strikeout. Brian McCann, Martin Maldonado, but Max Gasson, because of the injuries, has caught the most games for Houston.
Yeah, and he's catching a very accomplished pitching staff, so it's been a real good season for Max Stassi. This is not a particularly pleasant at bat. That nasty slider working very well for Sean Reed Foley. Justin Verlander has had a terrific season, and this team is peaking. When you take starters like Verlander and Garrett Cole into the postseason, Keuchel won a game the other day. Charlie Morton they're not sure about. There's some talk that he might pitch on Sunday just to give them a gauge as to where he is with that shoulder issue. This is Miles Straw.
Shorten up infield. He can really run.
And here he goes. Better unload in a hurry. John Birdie almost took too much time. Talking absolutely fly. Birdie throws him out. Sean Reed Foley perfect through 3.
Kicks off with the Princess Auto Elite 10, the world's top 10 men's teams, and for the first time, the world's top 10 women's teams go for glory. It all starts tomorrow for you right here on Sportsnet.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Beautiful afternoon here as the Astros will make a pitching change. They make the first pitching change as Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead. The pitcher into the game is the lefter, CNL Perez, taking over for Chris Davinsky.
This is his 4th major league stint this season, just called back up on September the 1st. He led Cuba as the top league with a 206 earned run average as an 18-year-old in 2014, 2015 before he defected in May of 2015. The Astros originally signed him for $5.15 million bonus in September of 2016. And here he is as a 22-year-old. He's not really big. He's listed at 5'11", 170 pounds, but he can pitch. He's got a live fastball. Slider, curveball, changeup, and his control is just above average.
This is John Birdie playing in his first big league game. Longtime Blue Jays farmhand. Goes after the first pitch and lines it right to the center fielder, Jake Marisnick. So Birdie, after 739 minor league games, gets an at-bat in the big leagues.
Didn't waste any time. It looked like he had his first big league hit too, didn't it?
He hit that right on the button, didn't he? Birdie is 28 years old. Originally drafted by Oakland, played a long time in the Blue Jays minor league system. Billy McKinney drew a walk his first time up, came around to score. McKinney scored on the 2-run home run by Randall Grichuk. McKinney's been a nice addition to this ball club. This is his 33rd game as a Blue Jay. He was involved, of course, with the HOU trade. McKinney and Brandon Drury coming to the Blue Jays. McKinney had an 18 base on base streak to start his career. Three and 0. There's a strike. Brandon Drury has not played since he suffered that wrist injury, but he says he's starting to feel a lot better, and now he can go into the postseason and concentrate on baseball again. Inside ball for McKinney, walks for a second time.
I love that. Get out there and face those lefties as much as you can.
Hurry into Home Hardware's kitchen event, on now until October 9th. Here's how.
Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Kevin Pillar batting in the 2 spot. Pillar bats all over in the batting order, but he actually hasn't hit second very often this season. For Pillar, that's just the 4th time he's hit the 2 spot. Lost the grip on that bat.
Billy McKinney's trying to draw a throw over there at first base after that 1-out walk. He's getting a one-way lead, a large lead over first base, trying to get Perez to throw over there. He wants to see his move. Billy picked up his first big league stolen base last time up.
Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Final home game of the 2018 season for the Blue Jays. Ground ball, big bouncing ball to third. Davis to second for 1, Kemp to first in time. Pillar bounces into the 5-4 3-inning ending double play. We'll go to the 4th. Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead.
are on sale now. Purchase season tickets and automatically become enrolled in My Blue Jays. Learn more at BlueJays.com. At John Gibbons' farewell press conference, the longest tenured Blue Jay, Kevin Pillar, managed to sneak in and watch his manager say goodbye. And that says a lot about just how much respect he has for Gibbons, Buck, because as you just mentioned, the two haven't always seen eye to eye.
Now, it was a first-class move by a first-class person, Kevin Pillar, to show up for your manager's press conference. And Pillar, he just kind of played it off. Well, I just happened to be down the hallway here, and I thought I'd step in. No, that was a first-class move. And I'm sure John Gibbons made note of that. But Gibby, 11 seasons at the helm of this ball club. He took over midseason in 2004. And then was let go in 2008, also in the midseason. And came back. Alexandopoulos brought him back. And that second run, as you mentioned, he was a different guy. A little more relaxed, a little more low-keyed. Kind of took things, went with the flow of things.
Wasn't it Kevin Pillar when his first year came up and he threw a bat down and Gibby was the manager and they sent him down to AAA?
Sent him down to AAA the next day.
And Kevin thought his big league career was over.
Sure did.
But I think they were just teaching him a lesson.
Jake Marisnick draws the walk. That's the first base runner for Houston. So we knew that this was going to be a short outing for Sean Reed-Foley. He walks the leadoff man here in the fourth, and with that, Joe Biagini will start to loosen up for the Blue Jays. Now, you mentioned that what had happened was Pillar was up to the plate, and he was called back for a pinch hitter. And he tossed his bat down into the tunnel, and obviously it wasn't the right reaction, and he knew it at the time, but he was sent back to the minor leagues, and all the while, there goes Marisnick. Pitch from McGuire's high. And Marisnick has a stolen base, his 6th of the season. McGuire got rid of it in a hurry, made a strong throw, but it was high over the bag at second.
If it's down and if it's on the base, Jake Marisnick was going to be out. Watch how quickly McGuire catches that ball and lets it go. But you can see if it's on the base, Urania would have been able to lay the tag on Marisnick. Now Kemp might bunt here, just to get that runner over to third.
McGuire quickly out. That's one thing we've seen with both Danny Jansen and Reese McGuire. They don't hesitate to go to the mound. If they sense something needs to be talked about, they'll go right out to the mound. So after Marisnick steals second, just in case they want to check on whether or not which set of signs they're using.
And that's 6 straight pitches out of the strike zone. So maybe he noticed something in that pitcher. Maybe he wanted to talk about it just a little bit and slow him down. Looks like he's trying to get through this inning too quick.
There's a line drive to right at the right field. And Marisnick's tagging, challenging Grichuk, and he'll move up. All right, Jake Marisnick, he's a very good base runner. Picked up the stolen base. Now he advances on a ball hit right at the right fielder.
And not very deep either. Again, if the throw is on line, he's going to be out at third base. Marisnick read it right away, and he says, I'm going to challenge the arm, but it's offline. If it's on the base, he has him, but it's offline, so he will move up. Randall's got 5 outfield assists this year and just 1 error.
So here is Carlos Correa. He struck out on a slider to end the top of the first. Little roller up the third base line. This is going to be a fair ball and an RBI. So Carlos Correa drives in, if you will, Jake Marisnick. A little roller up the third base line. That's going to be maybe it. Biagini hasn't had much time to throw, but Gibbons has made the call to the bullpen. It'll be Joe Biagini out of the bullpen for Sean Reed-Foley.
Boy, what an afternoon for Foley. Reed-Foley 9 up, 9 down before that leadoff walk here in the 4th inning, and he comes around to score. And Gibby's going to pull out his young right-hander.
Sean Reed Foley, his season more than likely over. 5 strikeouts through 3 1/3. So his season probably done, and he ends on a high note. He struck out 4 in a row, part of a 5 strikeout afternoon. Joe Biagini will take over for the Blue Jays. And John Gibbons is out there, and they're having a good smile. How about that?
That's great.
Boy, you talk about a class act. John Birdie, in his first day in the big leagues, gets a hug from John Gibbons, and it's on the Jumbotron.
Yeah, they were on the Jumbotron, so Gibby went out there to hug him to show him, hey, kid, you're in the big leagues.
John Gibbons said, yeah, there'll probably be a lot of pitching changes today, so I'll be walking out to the mound, and every time he walks out there, I bet you he has another good thought about his time here with the Blue Jays.
And the ovation will probably get louder and louder, but get used to that because the Blue Jays are going to use the rest of the game to finish up with their bullpen. Joe Biagini will be the first one out this afternoon after a good outing for Sean Reed Foley. Here are the numbers for Joe. This will be game number 48 this season for Biagini. They tried him as a starter, but I think this is his best position. Coming out of the bullpen, he's tall, he's got good stuff, and if he could just throw a little bit more consistent strikes, he can get big league hitters out for sure.
What a nice way to wrap up your season if you're Sean Reed Foley. Obviously, he didn't want to give up a run, but it was impressive. With 5 strikeouts in 3 1/3. Little dribbler off the bat of Carlos Correa was able to chase home Jake Marisnick at the first run for Houston. And John Gibbons with his first pitching change of the afternoon. So here is Yuli Gurriel. Gurriel is playing shortstop this afternoon. Carlos Correa at first. Correa jumps on the first pitch and fouls it back. Strike 2.
Yeah, just get it close. Gurriel, a very aggressive swinger. That little dribbler up the up the third base line that gets that runner to first base. The only hit that Sean Reed Foley's given up today. I think that's what he was so upset about. He made a good pitch, and Correa just rolled it up the third base line. Their only hit.
This is popped up right near the mound. Tellez comes over from first and makes the catch. Gurriel's retired. Biagini gets his first man. Lourdes Gurriel injured himself after his first at bat. Strained a hamstring. He's done for the season. Very disappointing outcome for him. He was looking forward to playing against his brother, Yuli Gurriel. Gurriel name in Cuba is an iconic baseball name. His father, Lourdes Sr., was one of the best players ever to come out of Cuba. He has managed, he's played, he's been an international star for many years. And now his 2 sons are representing the Gurriel family very well.
Yeah, and Lourdes is going to be around for a long time. He has shown enough for the Blue Jays in his 65 games and 281 batting average that he's going to be a good hitter for a long time. He's just 24 years old. He turns 25 very soon.
Their father in 1994 was 37 years old, but he won the MVP award in the World Cup of Baseball. He was still producing big numbers at 37.
Lourdes turns 25 on October the 10th. He'll play this whole season at 24 years old. Bright future. I guess the only question is, where is he going to end up defensively? At what position? We've seen him at short. We've seen him at seconds. We saw him take some ground balls over at first base. Outfield. He's athletic enough that he can even play the outfield.
He has played the outfield in the past, but he's primarily a shortstop. Kind of right, hits it high in the air. Billy McKinney just off the warning track makes the pitch. Biagini comes in and retires the two batters he's faced. Houston scores a run. Reed Foley had a good outing in his final start of the season. .25 for the season. It ties him with Justin Smoke for the lead for the team in home runs, 25 apiece. Morales is at 21. Paz Hernandez is at 20. But for Grichuk, that's a new career high in home runs. And the Blue Jays have hit their share of home runs.
He's come on strong, hasn't he? Randall Grichuk, the second half of the season, all those extra base hits since the All-Star game. They put him in that fourth spot, and he's really responded. A very high slugging percentage. I guess that's where you want to do it. You want to do your damage from that number 4 hole because you got some guys on base in front of you. Paid off in the first inning.
Smoke struck out on a Chris Davinsky changeup his first time up. That, of course, batting as a left-handed hitter. He turns around to bat right-handed against Perez. Bouncing ball off the end of the bat. Gurriel at shortstop. Throws him out.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined. Available now.
Randall Grichuk will step in. As we mentioned, he hit a 2-run home run in the first. 34 extra base hits since the All-Star break now.
That home run that he hit, it looked like he almost hit it one-handed. The changeup from Chris Davinsky, he was out in front of it, but he was able to keep the bat through the strike zone. And the top hand came off of it, but he's still quick enough and get it out of here with room to spare.
You know, you and I have both been in his shoes where he got off to a bad start and he wasn't doing a thing with the bat. But to his credit, he stayed positive. He continued to play great defense in the outfield. And he kept his head up. He never got down. Kept a positive attitude, just continued to work, and he was confident that things would turn around for him.
You know what? He never made excuses either. Never, not once. Well, you know, this isn't feeling good, or that's not feeling good, and I'm playing through all of this. He just went out there and just played the game of baseball.
This time he strikes out. 2 quick outs for Perez here in the 4th. His 2nd inning of relief. Chris Davinsky started. He gave up the Grichuk home run in the 1st.
Good looking high fastball right here, trying to end this at bat. Reaches back for a little something extra, and that one might have been out of the strike zone. Got a good arm. Again, just 22 years old. The Astros keep coming up with these pitchers year in and year out.
Rowdy Tellez, the first baseman, called out on strikes his first time up. Tellez, of course, off to a great start with the extra base hits. He has 12 extra base hits. Inside pitch. 3-0. Interesting to see if Gibbons gives the rookie the green light here.
Why not? He's facing a lefty, a tough lefty. This might be his only fastball.
Ball 4. It was a fastball off the plate outside. Second walk issued by Perez. A 2-out walk to the lefty batter. Now he has to face a dangerous right-handed hitter. Houston, in my mind, has one of the best pitching coaches in all of baseball in Brent Strom. They take his experience, his knowledge, and marry it to the analytics department, and they have really done a great job in furthering the pitching they have.
Really believes in the four-seam fastball up and the curveball down. I mean, that is his pitching philosophy. There are other pitching coaches whose philosophy are more sinker slider. What do you call that? Horizontal type of pitching. He's more vertical, up and down.
He believes hitters have a more difficult time judging vertical height than they do the width horizontally. And it's interesting. He goes back to Sandy Koufax. You know, he was a pitcher himself. And he talked about being around Koufax and the Dodgers and all those great pitchers they had, Sutton and Drysdale and Koufax. And he grew up in Southern California and watched them as a kid and then got to work with them. And he's a longtime pitching coach that Jeff Luhnow brought here from St. Louis with him. They have flourished together for sure.
And they are looking for pitchers with high spin rates and fastball curveball type of combinations. Not the sinker slider type of combinations that a lot of teams employ.
Bregman and Altuve getting the day off after they clinched the American League West division title yesterday. How'd you like to sit and have a baseball conversation with those two guys?
I'll just talk hitting. I'd like to talk hitting. You know, you can talk base running, you can talk fielding, you can talk all kind of facets of the game, but I just like to talk about hitting, philosophy, what they go up there looking for, what their idea of good hitters are. They are good hitters with power, and they're not big guys like the Giancarlo Stantons or the Aaron Judge. They're just good hitters, solid hitters with power and speed, extra base pop.
Diaz fouls it straight back. Good fastball. Well, you know what? And you know they have heard it throughout their career. You guys are too small. You'll never be big leaguers. You'll never be stars. And they're both stars. And they're both big leaguers, of course. Altuve, a three-time batting champ. And Bregman's going to be one of those guys that's going to win a batting title. Going to be a long-time all-star. They're driven to be great. You know, a lot of guys get to the big leagues, and we can say everybody on this field is talented. What separates guys like Bregman and Altuve from the rest of the pack is their desire to be great. They outwork people.
And that is something that you can't find in numbers. You can't, you know, open up a book and look at a bunch of statistics and everything and say, oh, they're really smart, or they're really driven, or they have a big heart, or they're a good teammate. That's what I would look for if I'm looking for players to start a team.
Yeah, these guys, they're character guys who take pride in what they do, but also take pride in representing their team, their manager, their organization.
You have to have good players.
They have to. You have to have
you
good
have
players.
to have good players. You have to have impact players. But those players are impact players and good players because they're smart and they're driven.
Diaz is having some at bat here against Perez. Ledmus came into this game over his last 8 games batting .410 and 4 extra base hits during those 8 games. Another foul back.
That was pitch number 10 in that at bat. If I was at first base and I saw a hitter have this type of at bat, he has seen everything that the pitcher has to offer. He's just missing everything. I'm telling myself, hey, get a big lead. He's going to hit a double. I got to score. He is having a good at bat.
Way outside. It's a full count now. Rowdy Tellez is the base runner at first, so he'll get a running start. Let's see where the Astros decide to play. They're going to move the first baseman behind the base runner at first. Reese McGuire's on deck. Blue Jays lead it 2-1. There goes Tellez, another foul back. Get you running in, Rowdy. Perez from Cuba facing Diaz from Cuba. Playing for Cuban pride on this at bat. They're going toe to toe, aren't they?
Grind this thing out.
12 pitches, 9 foul back. This is a fair ball. J.D. Davis at third throws in time to get Diaz. He made it close at first. We have played 4 innings. The Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead. Now time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Official team shop for your Toronto Blue Jays. Come visit us at the Toronto Eaton Center, Rogers Center, gates 1 and 5, and every in-stadium kiosk. Don't forget to visit jshop.ca or call 1-877-JSHOP. And Buck, I bet J-Shop sold a lot of number 5 John Gibbons jerseys.
Boy, you can bet on that, Hazel, and that's a great tribute to a man that's had a great career here as a manager for the Blue Jays. John Gibbons has worn number 5. You don't really know it that often because he doesn't wear his jersey out there. Most of the time he's got a jacket or a pullover on. But that's who John Gibbons is. He's very laid back. He always likes to play it low-keyed. He said it time and time again during his press conference. He said, I'm a low-keyed guy.
Yeah, I don't want the spotlight on me. He was here for 3 years before I knew what number he wore. I think it was opening day I saw it.
Kyle Tucker pops out to the right fielder. One away here in the 5th. Joe Biagini has retired 3 that he's faced. And you take a look at the most wins by managers in franchise history. Cito Gaston, of course, the manager in back-to-back World Series seasons, has almost 900 wins, 894. John Gibbons is second at 791. He's got a big lead over Bobby Cox and then Jimmy Williams with 281 wins. But that's a pretty impressive list of managers right there over their franchise history. Cito Gaston is up on the level of excellence here at Rogers Center.
Did the Jimmy Williams number surprise you?
281?
Yeah, it surprised me. I didn't think he was here long enough, but then when you start to think about it, those were some good teams.
Yeah, very good teams. He took over in '86 after Bobby Cox left to be the GM of Atlanta. J.D. Davis, he led the Pacific Coast League in hitting this year. And Houston's pretty high on Davis as a hitter. But right now, he's got a pretty tough customer to beat out at third base in Alex Bregman. These are the types of things you look for as an organization when you're trying to trade and acquire new talent. Look at the good teams. Look at their regulars and see who's stacked up behind them in AAA, AA, down in A-ball.
Chances are they can't fit them all on the 40-man roster, so you might have an opening and want to go out there and make a deal. Forrest Whitley is their #1 prospect, followed by Kyle Tucker. And they have an outfielder named Jordan Alvarez and then CNL Perez. Those are their top 4. But they've got players up and down the organization, and they've done a great job over the last few years, maybe 5-6 years, of drafting and developing some good talent.
Now, first of all, you have to have the draft pick. Secondly, you have to hit on them. And third, you have to develop them. And they've had the combination of all 3 of those elements. One and 2. Just upstairs for ball 2. Jeff Luhnow is the general manager of the Houston Astros, and we should congratulate the organization. They have won back-to-back division titles. They have won back-to-back 100-game seasons, and that's a heck of an accomplishment.
Yeah, they had some high draft picks, and you know what? You're not going to hit on all your draft picks. Let me rephrase that. You're not going to hit on all your high draft picks. Things happen. You were talking about human nature. It just happens. It's not going to happen sometimes. But they've done a good job of getting good players into their system and then developing them and giving them the resources to become good players. I think we're starting to see that also in the Blue Jays organization. They're getting good players into their system and they're making them good players. Coaching them up, as they say.
J.D. Davis takes a ball from Biagini. He'll go to first base. A 1-out walk, and as he makes his way to first base, he'll be joined by his high school teammate. Rowdy Tellez was a freshman at Elk Grove High School when J.D. Davis was a junior. And they look like brothers. Now they're fighting like brothers. But Rowdy, high school's Elk Grove High School. It's a suburban high school, suburban Sacramento, California. But these two were high school teammates, and now here they are playing against one another in the majors.
That has to be a cool thing, a cool feeling. Somebody that you went to high school with, and now you see him in the big leagues.
You know, that happened with me, but my high school teammate, a gentleman named Ken Hopman, who passed away unfortunately this year. We played high school ball together. He got his first major league at bat when I was catching. He only had 16 major league at bats.
That had to be.
We
awesome.
were so young, we didn't even realize the significance of it, you know. Pete Walker has come out of the dugout, and they're giving the relief pitcher time. Petrushka's starting to loosen up. But this is the other day when these first two got to see each other when Houston arrived, Rowdy Tellez and J.D. Davis, Elk Grove High School. But my teammate, we played in high school, we played in college. He was a 3-time #1 pick, very talented athlete. And he got his first big league at bat when I was catching in Kansas City. He came up with the White Sox, 1971.
Do you remember what he did?
Yeah, he popped up.
Popped out.
Yeah. And you know what? I still to this day regret the fact I threw him a breaking ball on the first pitch.
Why?
because I knew he couldn't hit a breaking ball.
But you were doing your job.
I wish I would have thrown him a fastball.
Well, looking back how it all played out, I can see that.
So here is Max Stassi. Saw Petrichka loosening up for the Blue Jays. As he swings and misses.
Did you say Rowdy was a freshman when he was a junior? Davis was a junior?
Yes.
So Rowdy is younger than him.
Yes. Freshman, sophomore. They played 2 years together in high school.
Could you imagine those 2, 3, 4 in your high school lineup? Yikes.
I went to that high school, obviously, several years, 50 years earlier than they did. At the time I went to high school, we talked about this the other day, there was one high school in the whole area. I think now there are 9 high schools in that area. 9 different high schools, so it's grown up dramatically.
The bus rides just aren't as long, right? Baseball's still good.
Baseball's very good, obviously. 2-2, Max Stassi, the catcher. Fly ball. Billy McKinney giving chase, still after it, and makes a terrific catch. They got a shot at Davis. Good relay throw, and they'll get him, and it hits the base runner. J.D. Davis was all the way around the bag at second, halfway to short. McKinney made a heck of a running catch on the warning track. And he turned and fired to Urania, who made a good, strong throw, but it hit the base runner.
What a great effort by Billy McKinney, number 1. He's going to take extra bases away from Max Stassi and probably a run from the Houston Astros. This ball looked like it was going to stay in the ballpark, but then go up against the wall, but a full extension pulls it in. Now the runner had gone around second base, so he had to go back, retouch second base. And they had plenty of time, but unfortunately the throw was right in the baseline. McKinney with the great catch, gets it back in quickly. The runner is Davis, and he read double all the way. He said, okay, he caught it. I got to go back and retouch the bag. And see, it just clipped him in the shoulder.
There has never been a base runner happier to get hit by a baseball than J.D. Davis. Biagini knocks it down. You better get on it, Joe. And it'll be an infield hit. Miles Straw gets his first big league hit on a line drive right back to the pitcher. The Astros are out on the warning track saying we need that baseball. That's his first big league hit. Altuve saying, hey, we need that baseball. Give me that baseball, Mr. Umpire. And they're still having trouble getting it from him, but Bruce Dreckman's going to walk it over to him. Okay, if you say so. That's a special baseball. That's his first big league hit. Biagini is out. Petrichka is in. Blue Jays still have a 2-1 lead. Inside the TD Zone, a guest from one of TD's community partners. Final game of the home portion of the 2018 schedule, as Joe Biagini will give way to Jake Petrichka, making his 40th appearance of the season.
Jake has really impressed, and I think he has opened up some eyes here in the second half. His fastball is crisp. He's averaging almost a strikeout per inning. He's got a little bit more oomph to that fastball. He's got great movement on it also. He has pitched in this series one time an inning, had a strikeout. Also had a 1-2-3 inning, struck out Alex Bregman.
Jake Marisnick, and Birdie does a nice job. Marisnick gets a base hit. What a nice piece of defense by Orania and Birdie. They played together in minor leagues, and Birdie went right to the base. Orania backhanded it, trying to flip it backwards to the second baseman who was there. But the base runner, Straw, beats the throw.
Yeah, he can run, and he is showing off that he can run. A great play by both Orania and Birdie. This ball looked for sure like it was heading into the outfield for a run, but the runner at first base can fly. And he's going to get his buddy Marisnick a base hit because of that speed.
Petrichka jumps ahead of Tony Kemp, who's flied out twice. Two outs, bases loaded. Petrichka trying to pitch out of this jam. Took something off and had Kemp out in front. Fouls it.
He's taking a little something off that fastball. It's not really a changeup, it doesn't look like. He's just taking something off his fastball, and he's getting a lot more movement on that pitch that we have seen before. He can bury one in there if he wants to now.
Oh, 0-2. Oh, runs off the plate 97 with that velocity. There's the improved velocity we've seen in the second half from Petrichka. Tony Kemp with a 1-2 count. Well, he tied him up there.
Perfect time for that. After a couple of pitches away, a changeup and a fastball away, you try and leave him standing there with that fastball. And he just got a piece of it to keep the at-bat alive.
Breaking ball for the strikeout. Petrichka will leave the bases loaded as Kemp strikes out. Go to the bottom of the fifth. The Blue Jays still have a 2-1 lead. Great play by McKinney in left. tomorrow, and they will head down to take on the Rays. In the meantime, the Yankees will be in St. Pete playing the Rays. Well, at 1 p.m. Eastern time, right here on Sportsnet 1. CC Sabathia against Tyler Glasnow. That's the pitching matchup right here on Sportsnet. Teams that win together, spend a lot of time together, they're a close-knit group. Altuve, Bregman, Maldonado, and Gonzalez all sitting there enjoying the day off. Reese McGuire goes after the first pitch from Perez. Perez starting his 3rd inning of relief. The Astros bullpen just now starting to loosen up. Looks like Lance McCullers Jr.
Joe Smith told me today that he's going to pitch at some point in this ball game. We got to see what they have in Lance, who is just coming back off the disabled list.
High fastball.
We're going to have some decisions to make when it comes to who they're going to carry for each round of the playoffs.
Right. Of course, they have their veterans from last year's World Series that pitched well. Osuna is going to be the closer, obviously. You would imagine that they will have Ryan Presley, who they picked up from Minnesota. He's been great since he's joined them. Then you would think they're going to have Brad Peacock, who's a versatile guy. Joe Smith, Will Harris. Tony Sipp will make the team as the left-hander.
The only lefty, probably out of that bullpen.
But they have to decide whether Lance McCullers Jr. is healthy enough, and obviously he was a starter for them last year. He's had elbow problems this year.
In the playoffs, though, you don't need 5 starters.
Hector Rondon.
He's
another guy that's on the bubble. McGuire hits it high and deep, and this one's going to go. Reese McGuire with his first big league home run. Out for lefty, nonetheless.
Yeah, you watch these kids every day in batting practice, and you watch and you learn, and you say, you know what? He looks like he's going to hit, and I think Reese McGuire is going to hit at the major league level. He might even hit better at the major league level than he did as a minor leaguer. And he will certainly take that sunflower shower with that first big league homer.
That was a pretty swing. Yeah, he picks up his first big league home run. 3-1 Blue Jays. They've scored all 3 of their runs on home runs.
Got to get that ball back for him. Your first major league dinger.
Richard Urania. Urania's a switch hitter. Another look at the McGuire home run.
Makes it even special. It's off a left-handed pitcher, a little slider. There's the red dot that you were talking about. It slowed down right over home plate for Reese to connect. Boy, what a feeling to be able to stand at a major league ballpark against the big league pitcher and do this. Send it way out of here.
Very telling as well. When he got back to the dugout, one of the first guys to greet him was Danny Jansen. They spent time together catching in Buffalo. And now Reese McGuire's got a big league home run. Boy, it's been a very productive month for the rookies for the Blue Jays that have been called up. Some of them were called up in June. When you think back to Ryan Borucki making his debut against the Astros in June. Danny Jansen, came up in August.
They might be calling him Danny McGuire.
Next soon. That'd be the platoon system, maybe. Ground ball right to the shortstop, Gurriel. Urania's retired, one away. Blue Jays rookies have really done themselves proud. They've had a good month of September. When you see the Blue Jays and their home runs by rookies in the month of September, they trail only the Angels in the major leagues.
Got to play those young players, and that's what they're doing here in September, to see what you have. It's a great teaching tool, I think, for young players to come up here, get some at-bats, do the big league travel, go around, see what it's like, and then when you go home, you're going to think about it, and you're going to go, okay, now I know what to expect next year when I come back for spring training.
Yeah, and that's a good feeling because you know now there are no unknowns. You've been to the big leagues. You've been to Boston. You've been to New York. You know what you're up against. You know what you're expected to do in a pregame warm-up. What you're supposed to do in the clubhouse. How you're supposed to act. There are no more unknowns for this group.
How about the meetings that you can have now? A little bit more in depth than they were when you were in the minor leagues, so you don't have to do that anymore. You know what that's all about. Those advanced meetings against the teams that you're playing.
John Birdie lined out to center field his first time up. When you talk about the Blue Jays rookies hitting home runs in September, Gurriel has hit 4. Billy McKinney has hit 3. Rowdy Tellez has hit 3. Danny Jansen's hit 2. Now Reese McGuire has hit 1. And you can see it. You and I see it every single day how close these kids are. They have played together several years. They have experienced ups and downs. They have been sent back to the lower levels. They have shared the joy of promotions. And now they're playing together side by side in the big leagues.
And asking every one of them, and every one of them say, when you ask them the same question, what's it like? How is it having players here that you played with in the minor leagues? Is that a comforting feeling? And every one of them say yes. The familiarity of the players that they remember down in the minor leagues, having them here, very important.
John Birdie strikes out. That's the second out of the inning.
The 2018 Honda CR-V, where style and versatility come together.
Blue Jays have a 3-1 lead. They've hit a couple of home runs here this afternoon. And Ogrichik a 2-run home run. Reese McGuire his first big league home run, accounting for all 3 of the Blue Jays runs. Billy McKinney has walked twice, picked up his first stolen base of his big league career. It's interesting to talk to these players and really get to understand how much or how little they know about the history of this organization. And, you know, obviously most of them remember 15 and 16. But they look up into the banners high above the field here at Rogers Center. They see back-to-back World Series champions. And I think most of them have that type of run on their mind. When you come up as youngsters together, those are the goals you need to establish early on.
And not be good for 1 or 2 years. When the Blue Jays really had it working, they were good for about 10 years. From the early mid 80s to early 90s.
They won in 85. It came together and culminated with the World Series win in 92 and 93. They were good in 94, then they went on strike. And that was a long run that started in 82, 83.
Yeah.
Bobby Cox came to the Blue Jays in 82.
You guys were good in 83 and 84.
Yeah.
You were just in the American League East. You weren't a finished product. You were a good team. But you took it to the next level in 85. Still the record for most wins in a season.
Billy McKinney may have thought it was outside, but he is called out on strikes. A couple of strikeouts in the inning. But Reese McGuire leads off the bottom of the 5th. One mighty swing. He has a big league home run. First big league home run for the catcher, Reese McGuire. Is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. That shot of John Gibbons and John Birdie on the mound tells you all you need to know about John Gibbons as a person. John Birdie playing in his first big league game. In the first pitching change of the afternoon, Gibbons made a point putting his arm around John Birdie so they could both be shown on the Jumbotron here. What a great moment for John Birdie.
And this isn't new to John Birdie. Birdie's been in spring training a couple of times with the Blue Jays, and he knows all these players, he knows all these coaches. But he spent this season outside the organization for a while, in the Cleveland organization. They brought him back, and John was just in the New Hampshire with the New Hampshire team a couple of weeks ago when they won the Eastern League Championship. So he knows a lot of these players. He played with a lot of them in the minor leagues.
John Birdie, 28-year-old utility man. He went 3 for 4 with a couple of RBIs in the final game of the Eastern League Championship. And he's already had a good season, capped off by that Eastern League title, but now a little icing on the cake. He gets called to the big leagues and starts his first big league game this afternoon. Bouncing ball foul wide of third. John Gibbons came out to make the pitching change after he took Reed Foley out of the game, and he's got John Birdie standing next to him and said, hey, playing in your first big league game, let's give him a thrill.
That's awesome. Gibby notices everything, doesn't he?
That was awesome. Correa called out on strikes. That slider gets him. That's the first out of the top half of the 6th.
That's 2 strikeouts in a row now for Jake Petrichka. He sets down a pretty good hitter in Carlos Correa. The Super Slow-Mo is brought to you by the Samsung S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined. Available now. That backup slider freezes Correa for the first out here in the 6th.
Gurriel flares it down the right side, and that's a fair ball. Grichuk is over to play it. Well, there was something on that play that you don't see very often, but Reese McGuire, the catcher, did it perfectly. On a base hit to right field, catchers used to do this as standard operating procedure. Follow the base runner up the line. Gurriel's going to flare this ball off. It gets jammed, but he dumps it fair, and Reese McGuire is just following the base runner up the line. If Grichuk bobbles it, if Gurriel takes a big turn, McGuire's right there for a potential to throw behind the runner.
Yeah, so no need for the first baseman to go back in there if the catcher's going to go there. That runner, he doesn't see that.
Time is called by White. There's a bee flying around White. He's swatting at it, and you can see that was the distraction. The umpire, Chris Dreckman, gave him timeout.
Did you ever catch a guy at first base?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But we would tell the first baseman, go away.
Yeah.
Stay out there so the runner can see you. Jesse Barfield had a great arm, and Al Cowens in Kansas City, the right fielders, would throw behind the runner. But you hit a ball that he's got to run for. So he's got to run a long way, and the batter runner takes a big wide turn.
Like maybe there's a double.
But we used to always tell the first baseman, you get out of the play because we're going to follow the runner. That ball gets away, but not far enough for Gurriel to advance.
I was playing left field once with Kansas City. We were playing the Angels, and Devon White was on first base when Devo was with the Angels. There was a base hit into left field, and he took this wide turn around second base. And I threw the ball in, and I said, okay, next time that happens, I'm going to throw behind him. I'm going to nail him. Sure enough, next inning, Same thing happened. He's on first base, hit the left field. He comes roaring around second base. I throw behind him and he walks to third. I said, that'll never happen again.
He set you up a little bit.
He set me up so bad. And I'm like, oh, I just wanted to dig a hole in the outfield and bury myself. Couldn't believe it how I fell for that.
2-1. Now it's 3-1 to Tyler Wright, the first baseman. Gurriel with a 1-out single. He's at first.
Petrichka's got a lot of movement on that fastball. If he can place one of them right here, lower parts of the strike zone, he can get that ground ball that he's looking for. Get out of this inning.
Three and 1. Line drive right field. Grichuk on the run. Makes a nice running catch. Hustles it back in. Gurriel gets back safely to first base. They mentioned Grichuk's played very well defensively in right and in center whenever he moves over to center.
That ball left the bat. I said double. That could be a run, but watch Randall get a good read on this ball. Drop step, haul it in, and then has the presence of mind to possibly throw back behind the runner. Good play.
So John Gibbons will make another pitching change. Petrichka is out of the ball game. Kyle Tucker is the hitter. Lefty Tim Mazer coming in to face Tucker. John Gibbons having a little fun with these pitching changes now. The crowd giving him a louder ovation each time he comes off the field. So keep it up. I kind of like this. At the bullpen started the game. Marco Estrada's there. They're having a little bit of fun with this. Tim Mason will come out of the bullpen. He'll be the third relief pitcher to work here this afternoon.
What a month of September that Meza has put together. He's had 10 appearances this month, covering 9 innings, and all he has given up is 4 hits. That's it. No runs and 13 punch-outs to lower that earned run average to 338 on the season. And batting average against him this month, just $133.
Well, it gets away from the catcher, goes all the way back to the backstop as Gurriel advances to second. It'll be a pass ball charged to Maurice McGuire. That ball gets away from him. It's a fastball. And he just whiffed on it. Got his glove turned upside down. Instead of going after that palm up, he went palm down, and that cost him a pass ball.
Shows you the kind of movement that Meza's had on his fastball. Slider's been wipeout. Wicked this month.
Kyle Tucker's the batter. Tucker has gone over 2 so far. Ground ball to Les. Steps on the bag. Then look, Tim Meza comes in and gets his man, Kyle Tucker. And then the top half of the sixth.
A.m. Eastern to learn they were AL West Division champs for the second straight year. Some of the players, their families, and the ownership group gathered at the Team Hotel Ballroom to watch the final out on the West Coast. I'm told, Buck, that win or lose this afternoon, the Astros will hold a champagne celebration in the visiting clubhouse immediately following today's ball game. They certainly don't want to miss out on that experience. Congratulations to the Astros once again.
Absolutely, and everybody as a player would like to celebrate on the field, and especially you'd like to do it at home, but because Oakland played later on out in Seattle, they didn't find the outcome until that last night. So congratulations to the Astros, and here's a man that's really important in their postseason plans.
Yeah, he was last season in the postseason. Just activated off the 10-day disabled list on Monday. He had some right elbow discomfort. This is Lance McCullers' first pitch to the backstop. Has not made a regular season relief appearance until today, although he did have a couple of relief appearances last year for Houston in the postseason.
He had a save in the ALCS in Game 7, pitched 4 innings, allowed just 1 hit in relief. He also picked up a win in Game 3 as a starter. Yeah, he's got a big-time arm, got a great curveball. I mean, here's the poster boy for a 4-seam fastball curveball pitcher right here.
Yeah, he can really bend it off now. And again, he hasn't pitched in a while. But they wanted to get him, excuse me, Buck, into this game and get him on the mound as they start to work towards the postseason.
In Game 3 of the World Series, he was the winning pitcher in that 5-3 win. He went 5 1/3, charged with 3 runs on 4 hits. Fastball with a lot of late movement.
Yeah, right now he just hasn't been where he wants to throw it. They wanted that fastball away. He's got that power fastball, power curveball.
First round pick of Houston in 2012. 41st player overall pick. And another one of these high draft picks that they have developed very effectively. There's the curveball. Pilar strikes out.
The 2018 Civic Type R, like no Honda you've ever seen.
Blue Jays have a 3-1 lead on the final home game of the season. Justin Smoke, the DH this afternoon, has struck out and grounded out. There's a good curveball for strike 1. Chris Davinsky started it. Gave up a 2-run home run to Randall Grichuk, the only hit he allowed in 2 innings of work. McCullers starting to feel it now.
After the strikeout to Kevin Pillar. A couple of good Brent Benders right there to smoke. I would imagine if the playoffs started and he was on the roster, at least the first round, 3 out of 5, he might be pitching out of the bullpen. If you figure Verlander, Cole, Keuchel, 1, 2, and 3.
They're going to play Cleveland. Cleveland's got a well-balanced attack. Couple of great switch hitters in Lindor and Ramirez. Brantley lefty, Carnasona righty, Alonso a lefty. They've got a very balanced lineup.
And you got Charlie Morton also. You got to figure him into the equation. So one of those guys is going to pitch out of the bullpen. You know, if Cleveland ends up pitching or hitting Encarnacion, Donaldson, Gomes back to back to back, I mean, that's where going to the bullpen and having this kind of arm come out of the bullpen to get you through those tight innings might come into play.
Ground ball pulled into the shift. That's Tony Kemp from right field. He throws to first and Smokes retired. Charlie Morton is scheduled to pitch on Sunday, final day of the season, at Baltimore against Dylan Bundy. Morton is 15-3. He left his last outing in the first inning with a shoulder problem. Garrett Cole has had a terrific first season with Houston, but they've got some options. Dallas Keuchel, former Cy Young Award winner, picked up the win here on Monday night.
What do you do with Josh James, who is sitting right there?
Well, I tell you what, as good an arm as he has, I don't know if he makes the postseason roster. This is popped up off the bat of Gritchett. Kemp going back into the outfield. Second baseman makes the catch. Houston pleased with that first inning from Lance McCullers Jr.
A doubleheader. First, Max Domi and the Canadiens take on John Tavares and the Maple Leafs. Then Johnny Gaudreau and the Flames take on the Canucks. It all starts a week today, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific on Sportsnet. And Buck, I'm told that the mayor of Toronto, John Tory, has proclaimed today John Gibbons Day.
How about that? That's a terrific honor and a great tribute to a great man, John Gibbons. So today in Toronto, Gibby, it's John Gibbons Day. So you can acknowledge that. I mean, that's quite an honor to be honored to name a day in a large metropolitan city.
That's how much he has meant to the city, the fans, the people. Ryan Tepera, for the 67th time now, will come in and become the 5th pitcher of the Blue Jays this afternoon. He will work the 7th inning.
Deliver the first pitch strike to the third baseman, J.D. Davis. Davis has flied out and walked. We are wrapping up our home portion of the schedule. We've been talking about it all afternoon, and this has been a special day for John Gibbons. It's also a special day for us to have the opportunity to thank everybody that puts this show together. the technical people behind the scenes that don't get recognized, and we have a tremendous amount of regard for all of these people, and we want to acknowledge them today. The technical producer is a good friend and a long-time part of this great broadcast, Dave Schick. He's the technical producer and makes sure everything works, and when it doesn't, we call on Schick. But David, it's great to be part of this broadcast, and you've been a big part of it for a long time. We have an engineering crew. 4 engineers: Stephen Oldfeld, Tyler Oberg, Alex Hurdle, and Kristen Terra. Also very important to make sure everything works, and the great camera operators have their equipment up to speed. 0-2 to J.D. Davis.
A couple of guys that we'd like to say thank you to in the truck. We get to see him every day when we're here at Rogers Center. Our technical director, Dan Brenner. And of course in audio, Stokes, Andrew Stokely. He makes us sound good, Buck. I don't know how he does it. And John Roots, the audio technicians. They make us sound good. Thank you, guys.
And also a big part of our broadcast, the people in the booth that help us with our audio. Mike Hayes is here with us every single day. He does a terrific job. Along with Sean Matthews Jones and Miles Carlisle. They're the A2 people that bring this great sound, all the crack of the bats and all of the umpire calls you hear because of the great work of the audio department. 1-2 to J.D. Davis. Big breaking ball outside. It's 2-2. High pop-up, that's going to reach the seats. Obviously, it's television, and when you have television, you have to have pictures, and we are blessed with one of the great camera crews in all of sports. So many of them, they all love their sports, and they cover a lot of games, but they've been with us for a long time. The guy we have a lot of time with and spend a lot of time with all of them, Terry McAlpin, is with us, and he is always in this booth with us. He shoots the high home camera, and he gives us these great shots from high above.
Yeah, we get to hear Terry count every single day as they get the cameras all set up from right here. Thanks for another great year, Terry.
Teddy Parada, our high first cameraman, has been with us for a long time and gives us those great shots from his perspective high above first base. Full count. Upstairs, ball 4.
Put in at bat by Davis. 9 pitches and another leadoff walk. The last time they had a leadoff walk, he came around to score. That was Marisnik back in the 4th inning.
Another great cameraman that travels with us is he's going to wrap up his baseball schedule today. Todd Monroe. Martin Murphy's been with us a long time. Martin and I go way back, and he is a low third cameraman. Ground ball to third. This could be 2. That miss Diaz to Birdie. Back to first. Double play. Max Stassi grounds into the 5-4-3 double play.
There you go. Yeah, leadoff walk. You can see that Ryan Tepera was upset with himself after walking that leadoff batter. Davis come right back and make a good pitch. Little sinker on the inside part. He hits it off the handle. That's an easy 5-4-3 around the diamond double play turn by the Blue Jays. 136 of them this year they have turned.
More of the great camera personnel that work on these broadcasts. Tim Coughlin, Ryan Cooney, Stephanie Dunthor, Willie Lipko. Longtime camera people that have done a great job with us, and we've all worked together for a long time. We appreciate all your efforts, and you are always putting us in a great position to look good.
I know they're working, but I'm waving to every one of them. Again, we get to see them every day and get to spend time with him. We got a great crew.
There's a base hit just inside the line. Miles Straw can really run, but he's going to be held to a single. Nice play by Brando Grichuk.
That would have been a perfect time to do that play we were talking about just earlier. A young player, very excited. Grichuk got over there, and if the catcher goes up behind him, watch the large turn over there at first base. Rowdy stays out of the way. But if someone had snuck up behind there, they had a shot at getting him at first base off the end of the bat. He's thinking about two. Watch the turn. Boom, right there.
All you got to do is follow that runner, and there's an easy play there.
Did you see the first base coach? He wasn't looking. He was watching the ball.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't happen very often. It used to be standard operating procedure. Catchers would follow the play. Jake Marisnik takes the first pitch strike. Another great camera operator on our show, Paul Ang. He operates the RoboCam that's positioned high on the screen behind home plate. Give you the great perspective of that shot right there. There goes the runner. McGuire can't find the handle. So Miles Straw has his first base hit, has his second base hit. Now he's got his first stolen base.
Well, we mentioned that he could really run. This season in the minor leagues, he had 70 stolen bases, was caught only 9 times, and he's not going to stick around long. Look at the stride as he makes it easily. 35 stolen bases in Double-A, 35 more in Triple-A this year.
Stealing bases is a hard thing to do. First of all, you have to have the physical skills to do it, but it's taxing. Your body gets beat up. Imagine all the times you dive back into first without having a stolen base. And then 70 stolen bases, how many times you slam hard onto that infield dirt stealing a base.
Ricky Henderson talked about that a lot, how taxing it was just to get back to first base.
So Straw is stranded at second. Tepera gets a strikeout, then ends the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. The Blue Jays with a 2-run lead. Down in St. Petersburg, taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Velez and his young core of Blue Jays will take on Blake Snell, who is 21-5. Thomas Pannone at 4-1. A rookie lefty will go to the mound. That's the first of 4, final weekend of the season. The Blue Jays will be in Tampa Bay to take on the Rays. Another pitching change here for Houston. Ramin Goudouin making his second big league appearance.
His last appearance was against Oakland. This is just a couple of times this year, second major league stint this year. He was also up here in June. He has pitched against the Blue Jays. a couple of times last year. First fastball up and in. He's thrown an inning in the third against the Blue Jays. He's given up 3 hits and a strikeout. Another one of those hard-throwing pitchers out of that bullpen.
Rowdy Tellez, the first baseman. Sharp breaking ball for a strike. Fly ball left field. Kyle Tucker, the left fielder, waits on it. 1 away.
This 4K broadcast is brought to you by the Samsung QLED TV. See nothing else.
As we continue to acknowledge this great technical crew that works with us here in Toronto, we have ABS operators to give you all the great replays in the truck. Pat Donatis, Andre Zeleny, Glenn Robinson, and Jeff Inslee. That's a terrific crew. One of the best crews in baseball to make sure you have the best in replays each and every time there's a close bang bang play.
They do a great job of when we call up for some replays, they're right on it. EBS operators, also video. Victor Bruck, James Mead, Brian Pascuza on the video side.
Popped up behind home plate. Stassi bumps into Diaz, but he's able to make the catch as Diaz just stood there at home plate. Stassi bumped into him, but it was not an issue as he makes the catch.
As a hitter, sometimes you're not sure where the ball is, and you get caught looking for it. That's exactly what happened with Aledmez as he popped it up around the plate, run into by Stassi. That is the catcher. Once it leaves the bat, that's his area.
Reese McGuire hit his first big league home run back in the 5th. It's the first pitch strike. We have a duet operator that helps put up all those great graphics, and Ron Harrison has been terrific in that regard. We have a good time sitting down chatting before the game, talking about things we're going to do over the course of the game. Ron Harrison is responsible for that. Foul back. Also, we have a cue ball camera. We have that up in the booth. Eli Kyriopoulos handles that for us. The bug operator, which gives you the great graphics as we flash through the innings. Greg Otterbein and Sandy James.
It's that cue ball right there. Gibby's favorite camera. He loves that thing, doesn't he?
Oh-2 upstairs. And finally, and certainly not because he's last on the list, but he's one of our favorites. He does a great job with us, handling all of the crew throughout the course of the day. Jake Clara, he's our runner, making sure we have everything we need. Brings us a look out, Reese. Jake Clara brings us the notes, brings us a cup of coffee every once in a while, keeps everybody linked together during the course of a ball game. Jake, thanks for another great season, and thanks to all of our technical staff here at Rogers Center.
And organized also. We forget a lot of things here. Jake takes care of us, so I want to thank him and everybody else for another great year. We get to work with some wonderful people, don't we, Buck?
Some of the best in the business, and they enjoy their work as well. Meyer hangs in against that high breaking ball. You know, it's a long season. We talk about it each and every year, opening days. And man, 162 games. How are we going to get through it? Now we got 3 left. John Gibbons, this is his final day as the Blue Jays manager here at Rogers Center. He'll manage a 3-game series in St. Pete. Upstairs.
Said the biggest thing he wanted to do was win his final game. Blue Jays are winning late into this game by a couple of runs. Now it's up to that bullpen. It's like Tyler Clipper's going to come in and pitch the 8th inning for Toronto.
3-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Breaking ball catches the outside corner. McGuire is called out on strikes. We'll go to the 8th. Blue Jays have a 3-1 lead. Honda Odyssey with available Honda Vac. It always bats cleanup.
Well, this is a special feeling for a young ball player getting your first major league home run. And Reese McGuire leads off the 5th inning off this breaking ball. Off of Perez, sends it into the seats for his first big league home run. That is this afternoon's drive of the game. That is also the last hit for the Blue Jays, as Reese McGuire has homered for the first time in his major league career.
The Reese McGuire talking to the new pitcher, Tyler Clippard, as they're prepared to go after this Astros lineup here in the top of the 8th. Clippard's had a busy season.
Yes, game number 73 for Tyler. He's also has a pretty good earned run average at 372, 67 2/3 innings for the veteran right-hander. He's worked one time already in this series, an inning a couple of days ago.
Ryan Presley of the Astros has the most appearances this season in the American League. He's got 76. Jose Alvarez of the Angels is 75, and Clippard's now 3rd. With this appearance here this afternoon, it's 73.
Nice play. What a nice play by the fans down there. One guy took the brunt of that ground ball, had nothing to show for it. Here it comes, hot one into the stands. Look at the fan coming up behind him. Got it.
Oh, he saved it before it hit the turf.
Very nice.
There's that wicked splitter from Clippard. Tony Kemp called out on strikes.
He's been pitching, I think, consistently all year long. 7 saves, 14 holds, 4 wins. There's the split grip, and there's tumbling action on it. Sometimes it'll go to the left, sometimes it'll sink. That time it was tumbling. Kemp gave up on it, and he strikes out for the 2nd time this afternoon.
Clippard actually finished up last season with the Astros. Got a World Series ring. He was not on the postseason roster. He made 16 appearances for Houston. He pitched with the Yankees, the White Sox, and the Astros last season. Look out.
That was the splitter. He also said that he really took advantage of some of the statistics and analytics that they had. Saying to use his fastball just a little bit more, or use it up in the strike zone.
Yeah, I asked him specifically what prompted him to seek out the analytical department. He said, I heard they had a great reputation. I wanted to find out what they think of my pitching style. The one thing they identified was the fact that he had lowered his release point. And he was aware that he had lowered it. He said, I lowered my release point in an effort to gain more velocity. But by lowering my release point, I lost the effectiveness of the splitter and the changeup. So the analytical department of the Astros helped to make that adjustment.
You know, that department that you were just talking about, we heard a great story today before the ball game about their statistical analytical department. And it has something to do with one of the greatest Astro players ever. Greg Biggio went to their analytical department and said, can you put some analytics together about my son, Cabin, what kind of year he had? Said he got a piece of paper, like a whole sheet, like an inch thick, of all the things that he did well for him this year.
Yeah, they broke down his son's season in Double-A. Oh, called strike 3. Correa had a good look at it, thought it was low. And look at the reaction of the bench. Evan Gattis, he didn't think it was a strike. Take a look at this last pitch from Clippard.
Another splitter that's dug out of the dirt by McGuire.
Boy, on that angle, it looked like it crossed high enough on that front knee when it crossed home plate. Anyway, Correa's out. 2 strikeouts for Clippard. But to finish up on the Biggio story, after Craig Biggio got the analytical pack and started looking through it, he said, my son profiles more like Bagwell than Biggio.
And he was very proud of that, of his son. What a great year he had. He was going around showing everybody the statistics.
Gurriel, it's a high fly ball deep to center field, but Pilar right in front of the 400-foot side makes the catch. Tyler Clippard retires the side in order. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Now time for a Blue Jay Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Cliff Floyd in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. At the Model Clearout event, the real victory lap is the drive home.
Bottom of the 8th inning here. The roof at Rogers Center is wide open on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, and we're having a good time here. John Gibbons Day in Toronto, officially.
And officially into this game, this is Dean Dietz. He has spent some time in the Midwest League this year, the Texas League, the Pacific Coast League, and now the major leagues as he has climbed the ladder through the organization. A former 11th round draft pick in 2014. He's got a good slider. Of course, he's got a good fastball. I don't think you can pitch out of the bullpen anymore unless you throw 95 plus, which he does. And he also has a good slider.
Richard Urania, the number 8 hitter for the Blue Jays. Urania playing at shortstop. That's his natural position. He's played a lot of second base here in this month of September. John Birdie is on deck. Birdie, playing in his first game, has gone 0 for 2. There have been a lot of firsts here this afternoon. Reese McGuire hit his first big league home run, as you heard the boys talk about in the break. Miles Straw has his first hits and his first stolen base in the big leagues.
Billy McKinney had his first big league stolen base.
Look at that young fan. They made a grab. They didn't see it live, but you can hear the crowd react to it. Must have been a pretty good catch. 1-2 now. There's that slider you were talking about, Pat. That's the strikeout. First out, bottom of the 8th inning. Urania's 0 for 3.
Watch the movement on this. It flashes a 65 on a scout scale. Right off that middle finger, up and down. as Urania tries to follow it through the strike zone.
One out here is John Birdie. There's his first big league hit. John Birdie's had a couple of crisp line drives today, and he gets his first big league hit in his first big league game.
Throw that ball out. Somebody call for the baseball. Louis Rivera's asking for it.
And there it is. So they throw that ball out, and Birdie will have that terrific souvenir. What a great feeling. I mean, he had to be surprised he was called up to the big leagues. We were surprised when we saw his name in the lineup today. He wasn't even on the team. But you could see John Birdie has to be awfully proud.
Wasn't even on the roster. I had to create a spot on the roster to get him up here. Got him on here, and he's had 2 very good at-bats. First time up, he lined hard to center field. This is the same type of swing. Gets on top of this one, and what a joy that is. To get your first big league hit, you know his teammates are cheering for him. They all played with him down in the minor leagues over the last few seasons. They're playing in the shift once again with Billy McKinney. StatCast AI is powered by AWS. Kemp Gurriel on the right side. Davis, that's the third baseman, now at straightaway shortstop.
Birdie's running. McKinney hits it right to the second baseman. That's going to be an easy double play. Gurriel, the shortstop, playing in the shift, catches it and throws to first to complete the double play. But John Birdie gets his first big league hit. And look at the reaction in the dugout. That speaks volumes about how tight these young kids are. He brought out the lineup card today. This is his final home game as the manager of the Blue Jays. A.J. Hinch came out to acknowledge that. John Reed Foley was the opener in this game. And each time he walked off the mound, he acknowledged the crowd. And he has been well received here this afternoon. He said, I have one wish for this final game at Rogers Center. I hope we win.
Win one for the Gibber. And the Blue Jays are in position to win as Reed Foley, then Biagini, Petrichka, Meza, Tepera, Clippard. Now Ken Giles will take over here in the ninth inning. A perfect 24 for 24 in save opportunities and a chance to get a save against his former team.
First pitch swing is Tyler White. Pilar calls for it in center field, waits for it, one away.
Hurry into Home Hardware's kitchen event, on now until October 9th. Here's how.
One away, top of the ninth inning. Blue Jays will jump on a plane, head down to St. Petersburg, have an off day on Thursday, resume play on Friday. Final series of the season against the Tampa Bay Rays. Hit right into the shift. Giles, 2 pitches, 2 outs. Kyle Tucker grounds out. Pitch efficiency.
Well, you don't think they know their former teammate? They'll come right after him with the fastball. His slider has been much better. Now just needs one more out to get that win for Gibby.
J.D. Davis takes strike 1. Oh, and 1. Giles with 5 pitches closes out the Astros. That's win number 792 for John Gibbons. That guarantees him a winning managerial record.
What a career. What a day. The fans are going to give him a standing ovation. All he asked for is, you know what, I'd love to win that last game and walk off the field a winner here at Rogers Center this afternoon. The pitching and the hitting, just 3 hits for the Blue Jays, including 2 home runs, did the trick. And Gibby can walk off the field a winner.
Special day for a manager. His final game, and Kevin Pillar, one of the longest tenured Blue Jays, with a hug, and you can see lots of emotion from the crowd. And the players served him well today. He said he wanted to win this final game. Got the baseball in his hand from the win. Giles, the closer, give him that baseball, and a lot of fans expressing their thoughts about John Gibbons, the manager. And hopefully we'll have a chance to hear from Gibby. It's an emotional game for him for sure. Look at the players still gathered in the dugout. And John Gibbons coming out to visit with our Hazel May. And let's go down to Hazel.
John Gibbons, you said at your press conference all you really wanted in your final home game here in Toronto is a win, and they won one for the Gibby. What has the giver, yes. What has this day meant to you, John?
Well, Hazel, kind of mixed emotions. You know, I've been here a long time, and I've had a lot of ups and downs. But since I've been here so long, you know, this will be a part of my life forever.
Almost done. One more thing, John. His Worship, Mayor John Tory, proclaimed this day John Gibbons Day in appreciation of what you meant to this city. Would you like to say anything to the Canadian baseball fans in this final home game here at Rogers Center?
Well, I didn't know there were so many conservatives in this town. No, you know, hey, these people, the fans, Toronto, all across Canada, have been wonderful to me. You know, it's been kind of an up and down early on, and I think they appreciate, you know, what I stand for. You know what? I've been through, you know, couple years ago when they showed up and really turned the baseball world upside down. And there'll be a winner here again eventually, and they'll give something to cheer about again.
John, I'll let you go. I know your players want to celebrate with you. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Okay, thanks, Hazel.
John Gibbons, everybody. Buck, let's send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And you can see the players never left the dugout, waiting for the skipper to lead the way on this final home game of the season. Congratulations, Gibby. We'll see you Friday night. Thanks for watching, folks. Stay tuned. Here's Blue Jays Central. Jamie, Joe, and Cliff. Take it away, fellas.